know what you're looking at, this is called a featherweight. And they are made by Singer, and they are vintage sewing machines. They were, I think the first one was made about 1928, 1929. And this particular one is a newer one. I think this one's a, I used to know, but I've kind of forgotten. I think this is like a 52. Okay, so what they did with the 52, the year 1952, this has this straight, so this made it a modern machine. Isn't that funny? As opposed to this one.
That's beautiful though.
Which is, and they call this a crinkle face. So this one I believe is a 1942, and that one's like a 1952.
That looks more industrial.
Yeah.
This one's very.
So that one's more high tech because it's got that striated plate, and this one is the crinkle face. And you can buy these featherweights. The neat thing about them is that they are all metal. And they're a very solid machine. And Singer, the whole lore behind this, because I belong to the Featherweight Yahoo group. So every day I go to my email and I read about my little featherweights. I mean, it becomes an obsession. You can get them on eBay or Craigslist for roughly $400. Between $300 and $400, but they are vintage machines. And the neat thing about the little featherweights, people kind of get hooked on them because you can take these little sewing machines to your class because they weigh 7 pounds.
Wow.
Which is really cool.
Which is the one you found when you were like walking around at a yard sale?
This one, that one I sold to my friend. I bought it from my friend.
Oh.
Because she wanted one.
And you have two. So
now this one I got when I think I was still in high school. So a friend, I worked at a fabric store, and she was an older woman who was a professional seamstress. And this was her machine. And she decided that she wanted to sell it for whatever reason it was. And she said, Marcia, you should really buy this machine for me. And I didn't know. I said, okay. I like it. It's cute. But I didn't really know then what I was purchasing. And so there are people that collect these things, and they literally have 14, 15, 16 of these machines.
Hoarders.
They're hoarders. You're exactly right. And she called it her feather teens because she has so many of them. And they're very popular with quilters. So they buy them for going to their quilt class because they can just pick up these little machines. The one thing that's you have to be very cautious of is the light gets super hot. So when you're sewing, you can burn yourself because that light's exposed, and that's one of the flaws, the design flaws on the machines. But if you pick them up, and they're all metal, and they're really cool. The thing about it also is that these sewing machines make a fantastic, beautiful straight stitch. It's a very balanced stitch, and you don't really have stitching problems with these machines as long as they're well maintained. If you do buy them, sometimes you have to rewire them because if it's 1952, how old is this machine? It's like 70 years old or something like that. So that's old electrical parts, and sometimes you have to replace the cords because it's just old and worn out. And a lot of times they sit around for decades in somebody's closet, somebody's garage, and then they decide they want to sell them. Now, if you're going to buy a featherweight, what you really want to do, they rate them from a scale of 1 to 10. You want to get up at least in the 7, and if you can, get into the 8 to 10. All right, so what are you talking about? The machine should not really have any scrapes on it. It should have intact decals, and it should have the original case, where my cases are someplace else. Okay. Yeah, now this one was the one that I got when I was in high school. So this is the original case. And I really like it because it has this little metal box. And there's actually a parts box that fits into here. It has all the little feet and all of the little special tools that will be super handy, you'll see in a few minutes. And here's the old cord, because it's kind of beat up and old. And they say that the ones that are made in the U.S., because they were made in two places. They were made in Scotland, and they were made in the U.S. And the ones in the U.S. will have stinky cases because the glue that they use to put this together allows the growth of this little mold in there, and so you open it up and you go, poof. But it's better to have the original case. So if you're buying the machine, you want to look, make sure all the decals are intact, there's no scratches, and it has an original case. And it has all the little feet parts that go with it. It makes it more valuable. There's one machine that I didn't bring because these are 221s. That's the model number. My other machine, they only made about 100,000 of them. This, they made millions, and they sold millions. So you can buy them through Craigslist, and I get them right here in Escondido. You go to the garage sale, and somebody's got one sitting there for $200, and so it's possible to get these machines and have a fabulous little sewing machine. The other one that I have from Scotland is a 222, and this section, I might bring it so you guys can at least look at it. It's built just a little bit differently, has a little bit higher body, and then this slides off and you have a free arm. Wow. And those are rare, and those are much more expensive. They're like double the cost. And those are 222s, but most of them are 221s. And I went to a bridal store on 2nd Avenue in Escondido because I was interviewing the woman that was the owner of the store. And when she was young in China, she got one of these machines. And when she came to the U.S., she started that store, and she has been sewing on that machine for 60 years. It is still, she has worn the black right off. Wow. She's down to bare metal. It's so cute to see it. And so she has made all those wedding gowns on that sewing machine, and she's never had any other machine, and she has based her entire business on that machine. Wow. And so they are fabulous little machines. They're really, really terrific. And you can just do a really amazing things with them. So
for the other model, what's the benefit of the slide
it's a
off?
free arm. So this bed pulls off.
Right. Just in
And
terms
then
of doing
there's a little-
sleeves and
so sleeves, yeah, anything with a
Tight.
small circle, especially if you're doing like children's clothes, because they have little tiny arms, and you know it's hard to get that. But if you have a free arm machine, you can do that. And they're just collector's items. So yeah, they're really cool. All right, so
How many feet are
I'm
supposed to come with that?
how many feet? There's only about 5 or 6 feet. This one right here is the narrow rolled hem foot. I'm sorry, that's not right. This one is the standard presser foot. The one that's on this machine right here, I'll take it off really quick so you can see it. This is a narrow rolled hem foot. Now you can buy these for all of your sewing machines, no matter what kind of sewing machine you have. If you have a Brother, a Singer, a Pfaff, Bernina, Elna, whatever, you can get these narrow rolled hem feet. And I'm going to show you how they work because they're really, really cool. And you'll go, Marcia, why did you make me do all of those samplers when I could have just used that narrow rolled hem foot? Okay. And Janelle is over there cutting some strips so that I can show you how to use this little binder. Is it over there, Janelle, the little green one that I did? Did I carry it around somewhere? Okay. So this one, you're going to do bound seam.